There's no point casting an elf if he looks like he's 55 years old or 60 years old. But at the same time, you can't have an 18-year-old, beautiful, fresh-faced person playing a 1,000-year-old elf. I mean, elves are immortal. So that's always our problem. And we had seen Lee Pace in a movie called The Fall. He was really quite remarkable in that film. When it came to looking for Thandril, we remembered Lee. And we met him in New York on a casting trip.
That week, I was so kind of excited to meet with them. I'm such a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings series that, you know, I kind of rewatched them all. I got the director's cut, watched that, watched all the documentaries, and kind of just put myself in Middle-earth. How far did they travel?
Well, we tracked them as far as the Great Oak Clearing.
And there you killed them?
Yes, my lord.
You killed them all? You did not think to keep one of them alive?
It was dark. We were outnumbered.
I don't care if you were fighting alone in blind. I do not accept incompetence from a captain of my guard.
Lee had that gravity. He had a sense that he could be 1,000 years old, he could be immortal, but also that he had lived. He had lived a long life, he had seen a lot, and he had been through a lot. And that Lee really brought that feeling to the role.
Literal, my fighter, my golden-eyed assassin. You have skill and cunning. You could go far.
Thranduil, in my mind, started out as kind of the anti-Elrond. He doesn't sit and have conversations with wizards about the best possible course of action to benefit Middle-earth as a whole. He's just out for pursuing his own agenda. And so where Elrond is very simple and elegant in his costumery, with Thranduil we had the opportunity to actually go quite elaborate and fanciful.
Conceptually, you know, his look, it was really hard to get right. He is a king born and bred. Everything that was being drawn initially was trying to add that to him, when actually he doesn't need it.
There was kind of an aha moment when Philippa said, you know, you want to think about this guy as a rock star. And instead of buttoning him up, let's open his neckline and let's give him an arrogance, but also a kind of a self-assured cockiness.
And I kept going on and on and on about this, and it was like, you know, the really great designers, it's like the simplicity of a great suit. And I came across an image of Tom Ford.
Tom Ford is the American designer who turned Gucci around, and he just looks so cool, lounging out on a chair. And I mean lounging, I mean like really lounging, like hanging out on one side, legs off to the other.
And I was like, that's Thranduil.
In the next pieces of artwork that I did, I changed the way he was sitting on his throne in my pictures to sort of throwing himself around a little bit more. And that suddenly gave us a window into this character. And the costume design kind of took off from there.
Sometimes you design costumes before you know who the actor is. You might be designing for someone in your mind that's 6'4", and in walks someone 5'6". So anyway, with Lee, what you get is exactly what you want physically, because he's tall and handsome and he's got the best shoulders to hang a costume on.
God, that orange is just...
yummy.
Yeah.
The orange looks
bold.
phenomenal.
He's money, this elf king. I mean, it really is a fun character to dress up.
Amazing.
Working with Lee Pace was wonderful because he definitely wears clothes incredibly well. He's got a great presence and he also moves incredibly well, all adding to that movement of the King of the Elves.
The source comes from here. Yes! That's the power.
Thranduil really had this burning, threatening presence, but he really had to just rein everything in. So it was like this tornado that he was pulling back from just unleashing.
Why do I see myself going? Elven movement training that we've done with Terry has kind of given me my entire character. It's not even about movement as much as it is about thought. Kind of like as the wind and the ocean pulls and pushes, it's like that's how they move through space.
You're riding these waves. It's like you're surfing. It's like you're surfing through space and you get to go, whoa, here's another wave.
Yeah.
Terry was great. When I got back to The Hobbit, it had been 10, 12 years. He brought me back to my inner elf.
When Orlando first came in Lord of the Rings, I mean, he's the elf that we all know. We didn't have a movements coach like Terry. So Orlando, being the first elf, he had to create an elvish trademark.
There was a sort of cat-like grace and presence and agility constantly aware. All of those things that basically gave me the sense of being an immortal being. After 10 years of living my life, coming back to that kind of centered place of Legolas was really actually kind of wonderful.
On the breath, feel it come from your center.
The way Terry kind of cracked into this elven movement is that it's not just kind of a Zen peacefulness, it's like a relaxed engagement.
Let it be like a piss shiver that it almost lifts you up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Piss shiver. I don't even know what a piss shiver is.
All right, guys. We're gonna do some of the hardest shit there is. All right. See how when you get out of your head, when you get out of the zone, it's shit?
Yeah, see that?
It's all about
It's the piss shiver.
it's killing us.
When Orlando and Lee worked together, it was really helpful because it's a father-son relationship, and it was just nice to have them connect in a very private space before they get on set, because then they have that history.
Ah, Legolas, un hero.
As Tolkien relates it later in The Lord of the Rings, Thranduil and Legolas are not Sylvan elves. They are Sindar. The Sindar are among the elves who left to go to the Undying Lands and stopped along the way. But they had some contact with the Valar and the powers that be.
The Cinder Elves have been exposed to that divine influence, and now they serve as kind of governors and guiders of the Sylvan Elves, who make up kind of the mass of the Woodland Realm society.
So one of the ways in which we tried to show that was very simply the white blonde hair. The pure blonde would be Thranduil and Legolas.
I think it's better to have not many others blonde, to tell the truth.
I agree.
Because then it makes Legolas and his dad sort of stand out as the royal kind of line.
We had to make Thranduil sort of appear so supreme and really quite cold in his attitude. We decided he was above all hair ornamentation. We wanted him to look completely like he was in control. So although there was nothing holding his hair back, it never really moved. And if it did, it was always very controlled, as if there was another force looking after his hair for him.
The one thing I was afraid of is that they were going to pluck my eyebrows and do something crazy with my eyebrows. And I was like, Peter, please, no, please, let's... don't.
I originally did designs for him with a much more shaped eyebrow, like the other elves. In the end, we actually lifted his eyebrows with these little guy ropes you stick on, made of fish skin. So we did that to his eyebrow.
Can I get a shot of your eyes? I'll just get a shot.
And I got to wear these kind of icy gray contacts.
They do have a slightly unnerving quality.
We had to use colour contacts for him. He's got very dark eyes, a bit like Orlando. Legolas had blue eyes, so his father has to have blue eyes as well.
Oh, the crown.
The crown was like a tangled mass of roots and thorns with little tiny leaves inlaid into them, representing the leaves of the primary trees of Mirkwood.
The crown designs that I gave him, I tried to put little barbs and bring everything to points so that, you know, if you're standing next to the guy and he turns his head, you're likely to get swiped, and he wouldn't care.
Oh, don't!
I just did it for that.
Tolkien describes Thranduil as having this amazing crown of thorns with seasonal leaves and berries and flowers sort of mixed in with it.
In the book, in other seasons, there are other things.
On his head was a crown of berries and red leaves, for the autumn was come again. In the spring, he wore a crown of woodland flowers.
They were shooting a scene that takes place in the prologue and that didn't make it into the movie. So when we were going to put this crown back on, I said, well, we should probably change the berries to something else.
Here's the crown. Here's the crown.
You want the berries painted as well, don't you?
Yeah, let's just pull the berries out.
Just take them off.
Take them out.
What do you think?
Because the ever-wise Lee Pace brought it up.
Damn it, don't you blame me over this, Zane. Don't you put this on me.
Are you talking seasonal?
Yeah, we're going to...
I have spear leaves.
You do,
Well,
yes.
but they're all the same colour.
No, we need green ones.
Zane, our executive producer, went out the back of the lot and brought back in a plant, and we just decorated the crown with that.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's green.
That's exactly what done.
Shove that in.
Shove that in that crown.
You take the yellow flower off.
Take the yellow flowers off. They just wrap these in and Bob's your uncle. I don't know what the hell the problem is here.
Thank goodness you're here, Zane.
I know.
We're saving the movie.